Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
So we are back, and this is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. I really hope you enjoyed last week's interview with martial artist, bodyguard, just overall badass actor Richard Norton. Go back and check that out because he had some amazing stories. And the second is a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. But before we dive into this week's movie, I got to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Doug. How about you?
I'm doing really good, man. It's good. This is the first not good movie that we've watched in a while? Question mark?
Well, not a question mark for me.
Okay.
It was. It wasn't great. I have to be honest. I also never knew there was a sequel to this.
I didn't know either.
And it's funny. Like the first one is. I mean, when you first watch, it's like it's a cheesy kind of but good movie. Like such a cult classic. This is cheesy, but definitely not good. And I don't think it's going to be a cult classic.
I don't think so either. But for a movie that I've never heard of, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And it's funny, the star of the movie, Jonathan, I think his last name's Sketch? I don't know how to say it, but anyway, he wrote this movie, and he actually wrote 8mm too. Did you know that there was an 8mm too?
I did not know.
How did they make a sequel to that?
I was going to say the first one, is a sketchy movie to begin with.
I know. I just don't know how they make it set. Is there more 8mm footage that needs to be? Anyway, so did you know he was married to Christina Applegate, this Jonathan Sketch guy? I did not know that, but I did find out after I heard an awesome interview with Richard Norton. Yeah, that was pretty cool when he mentioned that. He's like, I'll marry children. And I was like, oh, dude, I wonder if she was on set. I should have asked that.
Well, he looks familiar, and I wonder what she made a movie called. She made a movie with Cameron Diaz.
The Sweetest Thing.
Yes, and he was in it.
Oh, okay.
Well, her husband was in it at the time. It's like a small scene, and I wonder if that was him because he looked kind of familiar.
Oh, okay, maybe they did that. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
get him work. She's like, honey, do a real movie. We don't have to do sequels to these 80s and 90s movies that nobody really knew that you made. But so let's get it started. So right away, there's just country music just kicks in, and it's a big company that funded this movie. Country music played over lots of cuts of Crocs, fan boats, cocaine, crystal meth, and gangsters, and somebody using a butterfly knife.
I was gonna say, what the movie's gonna be high adrenaline when the second the first word comes on the screen. The music is pumped up. I mean, it's like you're ready to go. Like it high gear, high speed right away. Like we're like, all right, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and this movie didn't want to have a cold open to show anything about the movie. It just showed Roadhouse 2 right away. Like not even waiting. And they showed those two women come out of the Lamborghini at the Black Pelican. Which why is that play? What is that name?
Now that's a question I had. Was this the same bar as the original?
No, the original was the Double Deuce, right?
Okay. All right. So this is a brand new.
Deuce. Two poops? Why would somebody name but anyway, yeah. I never thought of that.
Well, are there such things as black pelicans?
I'm thinking if I Googled it right now, it's probably the state bird of, I know the state bird of Louisiana is the pelicans. Maybe the black pelican?
Have you ever seen a black pelican?
No, I've been in Louisiana, but not for any bird. But we can get a bird expert on the podcast.
Okay, we'll have to work on that.
So then, just like the other one, shows the bar, lots of fighting. And then Will Patton is in this movie, which is amazing because he was the coach in Remember the Titans. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
He was in Armageddon.
Oh yeah, and I'm trying to think what else he was in.
Well, so
Gone 60 Seconds.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a big guy. But so just like the movie starts with music right away, as soon as you see the bar, there's a bar fight right away. They're not this movie doesn't waste any time at all to dive right in. I just didn't know that he was such a badass.
He knocks two guys out, and then he knocks the one guy out that kind of looks like the guy from Shark Tank.
Correct.
David John. And then he pushes him down the long flight of stairs.
And they're not small guys. Like he handled. But was he ever like a tough ass in any of these movies?
No, I don't. Maybe Armageddon, was he?
No, not really.
But wasn't he in the ship that went to the asteroid? That's pretty bad.
Well, sitting in a chair, is not really badass. Beating up guys that are 3 times the size of you is pretty badass. And he's not young. I mean, so if you look at him, he's kind of older. I mean, and the one thing I also noticed is, for the most part, except for one bouncer, they're not really big in this place. They're kind of small. Like, they don't look like they're in shape. They're kind of for a bar that has this many fights, I would think they would have much bigger bouncers.
I know, they're very doughy. The one guy had a big gut.
Very doughy.
So then right away, like before we even see him, I think, Will Patton, the uncle that owns the bar, he gets a phone call from Jake Busey. Do you see that it's Jake Busey, or did I jump the gun right
No,
in?
no. You don't. You just see. It's like one of those movies where you see like the villain from behind. You just see his head. You don't know who it is. So it's like a surprise. A surprise look.
Well, surprise, guys. It's Jake Busey. I just let you know.
Yeah, and I guess he would probably be the last person I would think that we turn around. Like, I guess the caver's trying to hide. Got a question about Jake though. Is he as loony as his father? I mean, he acts like he's like something wrong with him. Now, Gary Busey was in a motorcycle accident and he was like all over the place. So I get why he's the way he is, but Jake's also kind of wacky.
Yeah, no, he's definitely wacky. And I wrote multiple times on here over and over again, I wish Gary Busey played the bad guy instead of Jake Busey. Because then it would have been believable. Because I'm like, this guy's whacked out.
Now, Gary Busey from like Lethal Weapon, or Gary Busey the way he is now?
Well, it'd be ideal if it was from, but since this is made in 2006, 2005, it'd have to be now. But I think he could still pull it off. But no, it would have been badass if they made a Roadhouse 2 back then. I know they've been on screen before, in the surfing movie.
Anaconda?
No, the surfing movie with that.
Oh, the surfing. I thought you said the serpent movie.
No, the surfing movie with Keanu Reeves.
Point Break.
Point Break, yeah, but they didn't have to fight or anything. That would have been a badass fight if it was ever Swayze one-on-one with Gary Busey. That back then, Gary Busey?
Well, you know what? That's a question I also have. So a few times we see the spoiler alert, Patrick Swayze's son is the main character in this movie.
Yeah.
And multiple people go up to him and says, I thought you'd be a little bigger.
I know.
Okay. Now, I don't recall Patrick Swayze being that big. Like, was he a big guy? Like,
no, but I think that's what it meant. That's what the line means.
Well, I know
thought
what the line
you'd be
means.
bigger. Oh, okay. No, he was a tiny guy.
Right. So why would he be bigger? His father is small.
Well, maybe the mom was a mastodon. Oh, well, if his mom is the nurse from that movie, she was so much bigger than Patrick Swayze in that movie. In the original Roadhouse, I forget her name, but she is like 6'2" and he's like 5'4".
So they're basing his size on his mom?
Maybe.
Okay.
Whatever happened to her? They just talking about the dad the whole time, but she was a big part of it. But yeah, so Shane Tanner, which I never knew Dalton's name. So going into this, if I would have read the summary, spoiler, I would have known. I really didn't know what the connection was going to be.
Correct.
And they don't drop it right away.
No, and I had to go look on the credits, and it said Tanner and his uncle. That what's his name? The actor.
Will Patton, yeah.
Like he's Tanner. So like I thought that was I don't know where the connection was coming. So I thought maybe I don't know.
But they drop it like every so often, like say a little bit here. So then Jake Busey made the phone call to Will Patton and said, "Hey, one of your employees is dirty. We should meet." And then it cuts right to where we meet Shane for the first time. He's at a strip club, and these are the first boobs that we've seen since Meatballs 3.
Oh, yes, it is.
And those are 80s boobs. This is this is our first realm into the 2000s, but it's not like I'm keeping score.
So we had like natural boobs to fake boobs?
I don't know. I didn't stare enough at these to know what the validity of them. But so then we see a drug deal going down, and the DEA shuts it down. The stripper points the gun. Jonathan, sketch. Shane Tanner, he's getting arrested. I'm like, wait, is this guy a bad guy? Like, you don't know right away. Like, what's going on?
Right. But they also had the one girl was on the cover, right?
Yeah, she was the girl that we might get on her name's Crystal Menacon. Yeah, so she might come on to the podcast down the road, and which would be awesome because she was in Harold and Kumar, the second movie. So that'd be cool to chat about that and talk about this. Like,
yeah, that would be
her
cool.
take on this movie. But yeah, so she cuffs him, throws him to the champagne room. We find out that he's undercover. She starts like going.
Well, I was going to ask you. I mean, I'm not a law enforcement expert. I mean, I know you have some connections. Is that how things get done? Like after you do a big bust, you just go in the champagne room and just get a little on?
I guess celebrate. I guess you got to celebrate, but I don't know what they were celebrating because according to that captain, so that guy, I guess he got hired that day because his line, I wrote it down because he sounded like he was sleeping when he was saying it. He goes, I put you undercover for 4 months and all you give me is Fred fucking Rogers. Where's the big one you were talking about?
and when you say Fred Rogers, are we talking about Mr. Rogers?
Oh, dude, that's his name too, right? Why did they use that name? Of all names, they could have made up any. He wrote the movie. He could have been like Ben Rogers or Steve, but Fred Rogers,
Mr. Rogers.
He probably saw it in the screen. He's like, I wrote that. Christina Applegate was probably like, honey, we know you love Mr. Rogers. Don't put it into your script. He's like, I'm going to put it.
Wow.
Oh, man. So then you mentioned before how badass Will Patton is, Uncle Nate. When he goes down to the dock and those guys are just waiting for him, I think he beats the shit out of 3 guys.
He does. And again, they weren't small. But why are the meetings always in like a dark, like it's never like during the daylight, like, and he goes alone. Like who, well, one of the questions I did have is who did he think he was meeting?
That is a good question. I don't know. If somebody called me and not said who they were, I don't even pick up for numbers. I don't know. This guy's picking up phone calls and just meeting somebody nowhere. But you know what's funny? I wonder, this 2006, all movies that we've seen, it's always in some shady, dark place. You got to think Richard Nixon, all that. Deep Throat, they met in the dark in a parking structure.
What movie was Deep Throat?
I'm talking about Richard Nixon.
Oh, okay.
The whole Watergate scandal.
Well, Deep Throat is another movie. I thought you were talking about another movie.
Oh, no, I was not talking about that. No, we don't cover those here. But no, so yeah, you're right. But I wonder nowadays, people want to look good. They want to be in good light.
Okay. So this movie was made in 2006, right?
Yes.
There's a scene when they have a portable phone, cordless phone. Did you see?
Oh, I wrote this down, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know it's jumping ahead a little bit, but so this is 2006. I don't remember having the phone that looked like a 1985 like first cordless phone. I was a little confused by that. That's why the year I was a little confused with.
Maybe they just got it in Louisiana. No, but here's what is even weirder about that. That was Uncle Nate's house. All right. Shane's at Uncle Nate's, who's showering. He has the girl's phone from the meeting when she left it, I think purposely at the bar the night before. So you're telling me the cordless phone was left? It sits outside the house all the time so people can just use it?
And again, you have cell phones, and then you have this gigantic cordless phone. We didn't get to that scene yet, but I have a couple questions about that as well.
Okay.
All right, so Nate is just kicking the crap out of everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then comes Big Bad Busey, right?
Yeah, they're going at it. Then Will Patton, he's beating the crap out of him, and then he has him in a chokehold. And then who I've listed multiple times in my notes, Ninja Star Girl. Throws a ninja, right? That was a ninja star.
Yeah.
That time. That was insane.
Yeah. Now, is Jake Busey known as a badass also?
No one thinks he's a badass.
Okay. I'm just curious.
He was kind of creepy in the new Stranger Things.
He was in it?
Oh, yeah. He was one of the employees at the newspaper.
So he went from starring in a movie to being an employee at the newspaper at Stranger Things?
Well, this isn't. Would you say this is starring in a movie?
Oh, that's true. All right.
I'm not mocking it. He's been in other movies too, in bigger roles. But
can you name 2? Can you name 1?
Well, he's he was in The Frighteners. That was like one of his early movies. He was one of the main ghosts, right?
All right. Okay. All right. So anyway,
that's all I got.
Yeah, thanks. That's good. She basically they take. I thought they left him for dead. I thought he died. Nate, when the ninja starts.
He punches, he gets out of it for a second.
Yeah.
He dives in the water and then they just like fire shots into him.
Yeah.
How the hell did he get out of there? Because that phone call happened pretty quick right afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long did he hold his breath down? Because I mean, he was pretty beat up. I'm assuming he was really like tired, and then he jumps in the water, and then he can't find him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was But so then the next scene, I guess they go to the bar, right? Busey goes to the bar.
Dude, ninja star chick
Well,
beats the shit out of a girl, a blonde chick, makes her bleed, and then licks the blood off of her face.
yeah. Well, and then Busey comes in there, smashes just a random table, smashes the glass, and then slams the guy's head in the table, and no one says anything. Yeah. Now you have bouncers there. What's the point of having a bouncer if you're allowed someone just to walk in there and just, wreak havoc, and they just keep walking in?
Yeah, and also, why the hell are there people in that bar? Because if I went there one time and I saw something like that happen, I would not be a repeat customer unless there's no other bar around. Which I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit because I just have to say it now. So the one big thing in this movie, Jake Busey wants this bar. He wants this bar like more than anything in the world. At one point, he's willing to give up like $400,000 in cash, right on hand. Gave me the bar, and that's why he like attempted to kill Will Patton. If he has $400,000 cash, which I'm sure he has more than that, it's not like he's maxing everything out. Why the hell doesn't he build his own bar or buy another bar? I think it's the only bar around.
It's possible. I mean, this one is very, established. So I think, I guess, well, there's been drug deals there to begin with. So I think it's already an established drug place, and that's probably why he wants it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know why he wants this particular one, but it's more Richard Norton. He's the one that wants the bar, not Busey.
Yeah,
so he's acting on Norton's orders. But did you see the bouncers do anything at all?
No, they don't do much.
You watch the first movie; those bouncers are like involved in every single fight. I don't think these guys stopped one fight.
Yeah, and to go back to the original, they weren't in great shape either. They were big dudes like Jack-wise, but they were pretty fat too.
They were, but I mean, these guys look like new dads.
Yeah.
They don't go to the gym. They just, that they didn't look too scary. Let's put it that way.
It looks like you could say it. If it was me, if I was a bouncer, I would just be looking on. I'd be like, I'd see the girl like punch a girl, slam her head on the table, lick the blood. I'd be like, hey, can you clean that up over there? I'll get the mop. Don't worry. Enjoy. Drinks are on me. So then Shane, he gets the phone call. Hey, your uncle's in bad shape. You see him in the hospital. So he drives out there. And this movie, I'm telling you, if we timed it with a timer, there's got to be 15 to 20 minutes of just showing the bayou, the trees, crocodiles. It just so many times just showing things like that. So then we meet Bo, the love interest in the movie.
Well, even before you get to that point, when he said he was going to leave, his captain says you're not allowed to leave yet, or he wouldn't let him leave, and he left anyway. The guy just lost. His uncle's in the hospital. His captain wouldn't let him go. Like, is that how strict they are in the? Remember, you're an expert in law enforcement.
Well, I would think that if you read the manual, there has to be some kind of like maybe days that he has to give. But I would think if it's a family injury, you should have at least a couple days to go deal with it. But that guy was pissed off anyway. I read his line before. He was like, "Oh man, this isn't the drug bust that I wanted." So I guess he was expecting that to be the big one. And he says, "You wait." And spoiler alert, he gets a big one.
He does
eventually. But yeah, so
I was going to say, and this happens a lot in movies. Now he's well, no, actually, we're going to get to it because he meets Bo. She seemed to have an attitude, and he was there helping her, and she had the attitude the whole time.
I noticed that too, but then at first I thought the same thing, and then next I'm like, you know what? They're in some redneck ass town. She's very attractive. So she probably gets hit on and creeped on by all the time. Probably out there, she's like, I'm gonna get one of these good old boys that comes and tries to take advantage. But yeah, he's helping out. He's like, I really want to help you. Then she's like hucking the lug nuts down, dropping them at him. And then, dude, the one thing about this movie is the soundtrack. I'm sure the budget obviously wasn't monstrally big.
Right.
Decent people in it, and the music wasn't horrible, but it was horrible. The music was horrible when Jake Busey is standing there riding like way back in his Cadillac in his Escalade, listening to rap music, and he's like smiling. Well, he almost hits Shane Tanner. He dives out of the way, and then he just drives on his way.
Well, it's almost like hitting an animal. Like I said, when you're in Louisiana, you just keep driving.
Yeah, people.
But I also had a question. He's changing his tire, and he's wearing like a white dress shirt. Now he changes the tire. He picks up the tire. He brings it over to the trunk. He doesn't have a speck of dirt on him. Not a speck. Now, have you ever changed a tire before?
I have, yeah.
It's impossible not to have some kind of grease or something on you. And you're in the country of Louisiana, like countryside. There's dirt and mud everywhere. Not a speck on his shirt.
That's good. I don't know. Maybe he was like, all right, before we shoot this scene, you're going to clean that tire. You're going to clean it, make sure it's spotless. No, that's pretty funny. Well, did he take off the busted tire?
He did.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if he was just putting the spare on, spare wouldn't be dirty. But no.
He carried it over to the trunk. That's.
Damn, dude. That's a good catch. Yeah. Those are good when you catch ones like that in the movies.
I'm telling you, not a speck. Like nothing.
Here's one question. It seems like in a lot of these movies, especially in the Road House franchise, if you can call it that, are all small towns this crooked? They said there's the one cop when he's talking to Shane, he says there's three cops in the town. And they don't do shit. They're like scared of Jake Busey and his gang. Does that really happen anywhere? Like in real life?
Every single movie that takes place in the South is always like that. I would hope it's not like that, but I bet you a lot of these small. Listen, you have a police department of 3 people. I mean, and the way they look. I mean, they all look like they're scared crap. Like they're scared to do anything. I bet you it happens more often than we think.
Yeah, and at least just for the storyline, just for us as the viewers, at least show maybe one time in the movie that the one cop or sheriff that we saw a bunch that interacted with Shane, at least show him get a bag of money, something. There was nothing exchange ever, so it was almost are they really getting anything? Or
well, I think it's more about fear. I think it's a matter of Jake Busey is he's a nut. And I think, they're just saying, all right, you know what? You leave us alone, don't do anything too crazy, and we'll just turn a blind eye. So I think it's more about that. I don't think they're not getting any kickbacks or anything.
So, Jamie, I have to ask you, this is Roadhouse 2. This movie came out, 20 years later? They can make the movie without killing off Dalton. Why'd they have to kill him? Well, because it becomes a revenge. It's a revenge thing now. So, because obviously that's the big drop. At the near the end of the movie, you find out who's the one. So first of all, to add more to that, it's called Roadhouse 2, and Roadhouse was all about bouncers. It was about the bar and about the bouncers. This movie really, outside of Busey wanting to buy the bar, it's nothing to do with the bar or the bouncers. Yeah. So it's not really not a big correlation with the first movie. So it's a revenge movie. And I think, they took away the original concept, and they had to kill him to make it all about the revenge. I would like if he knew who did it in the beginning, and the whole movie, he's going to find that guy. It was just thrown at the end. He's oh, I didn't, we'll get to that later. Well, I think they didn't do it that way because, again, it is called Roadhouse 2. So they had to show him getting involved with the bar a little bit more. He's going to take over the bar now, and he's going to make things right. But the bar, flash forward, since he took over the bar, people have died. The bar, got destroyed. His uncle's house got destroyed. This guy's bad news. He really he turned that whole town upside down. So I wonder if John Taffer from Bar Rescue came into this bar. He's like, "Hey, I was sitting here outside the Black Pelican. Let's go check in, see business." He would walk in and be like, "Shut it down!" As soon as people are just getting beat up. And then Shane, dude, so his first time he's at the bar. Hold on. We're going to bypass the impression you just did? It was that good. I didn't think it needed to be. Okay. I just wanted to address it. That's okay. All right. That's added. I'm adding that to my Rolodex. But no, so Shane's at the bar. You mentioned they used that same line. I thought you'd be bigger. At first, before they were saying that line, the line they said 2 times, and I thought they were going to interchange them, kept saying oh, you're Dalton's boy. They kept saying that over and over again. And then you heard the "I thought you'd be bigger" line twice. The one time after he beat the crap out of 3 guys, did the same kind of thing. It's funny that he's married to Christina Applegate. Kind of remind me of Al Bundy would beat the crap out of the boyfriends and threw him. But they roll him down the stairs, and then he goes in one guy's pocket and he pulls out a comical sized bag of crystal meth. Now, was this before the kickboxing montage when he was kicking the bag?
Because I mean that was an important part to see in the movie.
That was weird. And then why
it was like out of the blue. He would just, you had the storyline, and then also just a good 7 minutes of him just kicking the bag. That was just
It was kind of like Ren McCormick in Footloose, dancing in an empty warehouse.
So when he's at the bar now, the bartender, after I guess when he clears it out a little bit, the bartender says, "All right, last call." How do you yell last call when it's still 100 people in the bar? How is that gonna I can't imagine that going over well.
Well, because the cops are working with Jake Busey, maybe they'll be real hard on him and then fine them over and over again. I've been at bars before that the cops come in, they're like, "All right, guys, you got to get out." I guess maybe that had to do with, I know they should have mentioned that more, but now I guess you got to close. What, you think there's a time restraint so in Louisiana, with the only bar open in town, they have to go, they stop at 11 o'clock at night? Well, 11 o'clock, and you have to have the town issued cordless phone. And how'd you like when he did the rules thing like his dad? Rules of the Black Pelican. 1, never underestimate anyone or any situation. 2, take it outside. 3, be nice until it's time to not be nice. And not one of those rules comes in effect. Like I said, those bouncers do absolutely nothing the entire movie. You don't see them do anything. And, spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you which bouncer was, backstabber, but he looked guilty from the beginning. I know. I thought he did because when he gave attitudes the whole time. 100%. Every time he's like, "What's this guy doing here?" And he is the only one that looks like a bouncer. I mean, he was a big guy, but he looked guilty from the beginning, and he didn't know that or his uncle did tell him to watch out for him, right, or something. Did he say a name? He said, "Find out." He mentioned a name. Oh. He did, because I think later in the movie that's when he goes to him. But why did it take him so long to get to him? His uncle said it, and then he didn't go there right away. He goes, I'll take care of it down, whatever. And he doesn't go until later on in the movie. Yeah, I guess until he actually finds out. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that made no sense. No, and why would he wait that long? And he included him on everything he was doing. And someone died because of it. Yeah, 100%. But we'll get to that. So the next thing we get, Richard Norton, we mentioned him before. We see him for the first time. He's like the big drug boss. He's the kingpin. He's Jake Busey's boss. And here's a line that makes no sense. So Jake Busey says, "We need the Pelican. Get on the phone with the lawyers and make the place mine." Then he puts his buddy or his henchman, he starts drowning him in the hot tub. And here's what I would ask you. That's not how lawyers work. You can't just, as a lawyer, say, "You know what, I want that, I'm going to get it." That's not how it happened. First of all, he was like a Weasley lawyer. I mean, ridiculous. And how about when that girl kissed him? I was going to get that. So I wrote that down. Is that what they do? Maybe that's what they do down south. Maybe they were brother and sister. And that's, you had to give her a kiss goodbye. I mean, there's no way a girl looking like that is going to kiss that. It reminded me of Paul Bearer. Oh, yeah. Wrestling, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, And I wrote that down about Busey. He seems to beat up his own people a lot. Oh, definitely. For no reason. He's going to tell this guy to do something that doesn't happen. You just can't have lawyers do that. And then right after that is when they go to meet with him, right? Yeah. Shane's sitting at the bar, doing the books, which, let's be real, he's a DA agent. Doesn't mean he can balance he's not an accountant. He can't just look at those and be like, "Oh, I get this." But no. And then the guys are like, "We're going to offer you $400,000. And he's like, "No, bar's not for sale." And the lawyer gets kind of flustered. So then they leave. They go back to Jake Busey hanging out. And I can't unsee Jake Busey getting a double handy in the hot tub. That was just, why? Why did their hands have to be there just moving around? It was just weird. And again, those girls are good looking, and he's such a creepy look. He looks like he's on crack. He's a creepy looking guy. No, he does look weird. Yeah. So, and then this is where the cordless phone comes in, because this is why I wrote it down right after that scene. Yeah. I just said, I guess, and not to mention that it is an old school phone, but he had great connection in the woods. I mean, I can't get connection when I go upstairs in my upstairs, my cell phone doesn't work that well. This guy's in the woods with an old school cordless phone, and he had no problem. No, I know. Yeah. No. There's a lot of things that they make sense. How about the form of transportation she took to get there? Fan boats look like they're obviously the loudest and they're the most boring forms of travel. And it's used multiple times in this movie. I was going to say, for a girl, she has a car. Why is she using those? What kind of the swamp boats or whatever they're called? Fan boat. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's her.
Unless she lives that close, and maybe you have to go way around like the marsh or something. But yeah,
I guess.
that made no sense. And then she like basically breaks into the house. He sees the fan boat when he peeps out the window, but
Right.
he doesn't know it's her. And then he comes up, gun out, Glock pointed at her. She kicks him right in the nuts.
Well, okay. So first of all, he's mentioned something to her, like, you just break into people's houses. So her line was, "Well, the door was open."
Yeah.
So I guess apparently, if someone's door is open, it's okay to walk in.
Well, if I was young and single, she can. If I left my door open, Bo can come in. And that was her name. It's funny. Early in the movie, I heard she said her name was Bo, and I couldn't make it out. I didn't have the closed captioning on. I was like doing other stuff, and I'm like, maybe that's short for something, but it's like Bo. It's definitely Bo.
And you mentioned that she kicked him in the nuts, right?
Yes.
He goes to her. He goes, "Where'd you learn how to kick like that?" I mean, it's not like she did a Van Damme spinning kick. She just kicked him in the balls. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that like needs training or anything.
But then we find out later she is trained. She's military.
Is she military? See, I had questions with that later on.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to explain that later on.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So the next thing so they're leaving the place. The guy and the girl, I guess they both take the fan boat. He wanted to take the fan boat with her. So the cop, there's only 3 cops in this town. We've seen one. This is the second one. So they see him leave, and Billy, Jake Busey, and his crystal meth gang go to the house and just completely trash it.
Well, so while they're trashing it, she's at the diner. So what I was questioning is he's in the FBI, correct?
Yeah.
And he's telling her all this stuff, and he says, "Keep it to yourself." And at this point, he still doesn't know her name because he says, "I don't know I don't even know your name." So he's trusting this girl who just broke into his house, telling her everything that he doesn't want to tell anybody else, and he doesn't know her name. That's how.
Spoiler alert: it's Jake Busey's cousin in the movie. So she's basically relaying all this information, which isn't. There's so many things with this. So it's his cousin. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a lot, but the whole time they're kind of communicating back and forth. At one point, Jake Busey calls her and says, "Hey, trouble's coming your way. You better get out." And then 10 minutes later, Jake Busey's like girlfriend with the ninja stars is attempting to murder her.
Yeah,
so it just the combination between the two. But again, we'll get there. We'll get there in a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, why the hell would he just tell her all the information? It was so stupid.
Yeah.
So we talked about this before. People like to meet in the dark. Why the hell did Jake Busey choose to do the drug deal while the bar was open, right? In the kitchen of the bar.
Well, not only that. So obviously, Shane. So he's setting him up, correct? He should set up Busey?
Yes.
Okay. He doesn't check the other door. So he lures him to the kitchen, or not even lures him. He allows Busey to just basically go wherever he wants to do his deal. First of all, who owns the bar at this point? Is it Nate's bar?
Well, it's Nate's bar, and the nephew took over. But no, he tried to set it up. He set up cameras and microphones upstairs.
But they escaped. So they escaped from the back door.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't leave anyone in the back door. They're like, all right, we're going to guard the front door. We know they're in there, but we're going to give them a way to escape very easily.
And then the guy, I don't have his name written down yet, but what was the name of the bouncer that?
I don't remember.
Oh, Luther.
Okay.
Luther's the one at that point because they're standing there and he shows his badge because they're getting ready to break into the kitchen and bust Jake Busey in the drug deal. And he tips them off. He basically lets them know, like, hey, they're here. So they run, gunshots are going. And this is one thing that they never mentioned. I don't know if they cut a scene. I wonder if they have like a Blu-ray special edition. Probably not. But did you notice Jake Busey when he leaves, when he's on his fan boat? This is the dumbest thing ever. So no, he goes.
How fast do fan boats go?
It looks like they're almost going backwards. That's how slow they go. No, but how about he has a girl, and it's not his cousin. It's not his girlfriend with the ninja stars. He has a girl. If you go back and watch it, he has a girl, arm around her throat, gun to her head. Whatever happened with that? They never talked about that at all. And the next scene, the next cut, I'm thinking, oh, Shane's going to be like in another fan boat chasing after him. No, he's just sitting there talking to his DA buddy. I'm like, wait, nobody's caring about this woman? That's somebody's daughter.
Yeah, that totally went. Well, when they saw the next scene and I saw the ninja girl again, I thought maybe I missed it. Maybe he had the ninja girl and he's pointing the gun to her, like pretending like he's going to do something, but it was really the girl that he's with. That's what I thought later on. But
no, I went backwards. I know. I went back because I was like, "What the hell?"
So, but maybe, yeah, that was weird. It's like, all right, they totally let her go. Like that was weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that down. I'm like, what the hell? Is Shane just hanging out? So then Richard Norton, dude, he has some great lines in this movie. And I wish I could remember. I wish I asked him about some of these lines. But so he says when he's talking to Jake about Jake Busey, he says, never send a he's sitting on his yacht with his like smoking hot, like she's probably like 20-year-old girl. He goes, never send a minor leaguer to pitch Game 7 of the World Series. That is true. I can't say that that's not true.
No, it's definitely true. And let me, you know what? There's something about like a villain having like an accent like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just know like there's something like, without knowing anything about Richard Norton, you're going to think like, oh, this guy's a badass. I mean, you got some kind of like Australian or English accent or, or even German accent. Like, when the villain is not from around here and has an accent, they're going to be a badass.
Yeah. If he opened his mouth and he just sounded like he was from Delaware, I'd be like, get this movie off. But no, I love when he.
Hold on. So a Delaware accent is what would make you turn this movie off. Not the fact that the movie's not that good, but if they have a Delaware accent, forget about it. This movie is horrible.
Maybe. But so then I love when he lands in his plane. He shows up, he lands, and the bay of the water plane pops open, and he goes, God, I hate this fucking shithole.
Well, first of all, how small is that plane? I mean, that is like, and he's a pretty big guy. That probably is an uncomfortable. Now, where's he coming from? Like, does he live in the South? Something tells me he doesn't live in that area.
He lives, and I'll tell you because in the next line I wrote down.
Okay.
He lives in Miami.
Okay.
And do you know how I know he lives in Miami?
No, humor me.
He goes, kill all the, well, I'll cut this part out. So he goes, kill all these people and seal the deal so I could be home for the Marlins game. So this bad guy, Victor Cross, is like this big monster, just drug dealer. He's a Florida Marlins fan. They're still in Florida at this point.
Yeah, but maybe he has box seats.
Oh, I would hope so. Nobody else goes to the games. They probably give them away.
But okay, so I think there's definitely a timeline issue with the whole movie. Everybody seems to get everywhere very quickly. Whether they're getting to the hospital, whether they're getting to the bar, it's like very quick. So I'm flying a small plane like that from Miami to Louisiana. It seemed very quick.
Yeah, it seemed like he was like on the phone with him, and then he hung up. He said the never send the minor leaguer line, and then he's there that fast. So then right after this, again, fan boats. I think that they accidentally, this is early internet time. Internet was around for 10 years, but it was a lot slower. I think whoever was doing the ordering for like things to the props, they accidentally they hit one and it froze. They hit one again. And they accidentally, they leased this. They rented the fan boats for 11 days because they used it way too much. When he and his gang are in the fan boat and it's like coming up on the blonde chick that's hanging out, they shut it off. And then he goes, hey, you better stay away from that lover boy of yours. And then they just like, why? Dude, he would have been more badass if he rode past on a scooter.
Yeah, or a jet ski. I'll even give a jet ski, but yeah, fan boat is, I don't know, kind of lame.
Or a power boat. I understand it is the bayou, so they have to do that. Like, yes, but like a badass, like red flames on it, I'd be like, all right, Jake Busey, this guy's intimidating, but he can't run away. People could swim faster than that. That would have been a good scene if they would have had Shane chasing after him and Shane just dives on the back of a crocodile or an alligator, just like start chasing him down.
Didn't they do something like that with a Police Academy movie or something? Wasn't there a chase? There was a movie that they had a chase on the fan boats. And I want to say Police Academy, but maybe not. Like, it doesn't sound familiar.
It sounds like something Police Academy would do. because it's the silliest form of transportation.
It is.
Remember they were supposed to meet at the bar?
Yes.
And because he was like, I'm going to do the deal, $400,000, just pay to fix my uncle's house. Instead, he goes on the date with the blonde.
Okay.
And then she's like, you know what? This is, let's just keep hanging out. You know what I thought about? And this is so weird to say, but we didn't know much about her, right? Didn't even know her name at this point. We didn't know the connection to Jake Busey, really. And it was just so weird because his dad lived in the town. You didn't see the mom. It was just, I don't know why. If anybody saw the movie Old Dog, I thought of like this weird old dog situation because she wasn't like really attracted to him yet. She was almost like playing like brother sister. If she had said the line, "I never knew my dad."
Wait, are we talking about Bo?
We're talking about Bo and
shit.
And Shane, because she wasn't really into him. She was more like acting like brother, like buddy, like picking on him.
No, I think she was into him the minute he changed the
Really?
tire.
Okay.
Because I mean, the way she was looking at him after she was dropping those lug nuts, I think it was like a tease. No, I think she was definitely. But you said brother and sister, but that's down south. So maybe their relationship. She looked at him as a brother because that's part of
So that's foreplay in Louisiana, dropping lug nuts. So I heard you made it with Susie last night. Yeah, I was dropping her lug nuts, if you know what I mean.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, so that's that part. He blew off the deal, which is kind of dumb. One of his bouncers got murdered.
Yep.
When they finally went to the Black Pelican. And the other one was like severely beaten because he was in crutches at the end of the movie and dancing.
And that was the robot bouncer, right? The one that was doing the robot in the beginning of the movie?
Yes.
The one that they actually said he's a little slow?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, we have the dads and the slow bouncers. That's in this rough redneck town that has fights going on constantly in a bar. That's who you're hiring.
Yeah.
And your best bouncer is a guy who's probably in his 50s.
Yeah. No, I know. So then we were talking about it before, like the sprinkling of the Dalton killed story. So this is where he opens up about it and he says, so my dad was at my house and when he walked in, he got shot and he was like, that could have been me. I think about that every day. And it's like, all right, where's this going to go?
No, that's not what he said.
Yeah, that's how his dad died.
No, he borrowed his car.
Oh, I thought it was in his house.
No, he borrowed his car. And so he said, my dad borrowed my car and, he got murdered. He got shot and they must have thought it was me. That's why. So he walked into the house. Why would he think it's Shane? So he said he borrowed my car and that should have been me. Because he had my car. So that's why Busey talks about it later on.
Yeah. No, I thought he said house, but
yeah, no. It borrowed his car because that's when what's his name? Robert Norton. He talks about it. He goes,
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So now no, he borrowed his car.
Yeah. His name's Richard Norton. If he listens to this,
okay.
he'll find you.
He probably will.
He'll tell Chuck or Jackie to come kick your ass. Just still mind blowing. That whole connection.
Unbelievable.
So cool. So then, so we find that out. And then, we mentioned it before. Luther is the snake bouncer. He is the one who told everybody, tipped him off that, hey, those guys are there. Shane's not there. So then Shane calls him. This is actually really cool. So Jamie mentioned this before, but Shane calls him and he's like, hey, I'm going to go over to the Pelican and clean things up. There was a break in there, something like that. And then the guy calls him and he's like, hey, Shane's going to go to this place. And then right after they hung up the phone, Shane jumps through the window using the top of a metal garbage can as like his thing. He gets him in there, just beats him up, kicks him in the nuts. And I think that's pretty much it. It was pretty quick. All
right. So again, a window, unless it's ground level, maybe you could jump through it. But most windows are above, shoulder height. It's pretty. How do you jump through a window like that? Like he dove through the window.
This is Dalton's boy.
That is true. Yeah. Okay. So all right. But regardless, and it's a hard window. Obviously, he had no problem going through it. It shattered right away, and then he's able to fight right. Like to me, I fall down, I'm ready to, take a breather. The guy dove through a window, and then he started kicking some ass.
No.
That was amazing.
Right away. So then another great Richard Norton line right after this, when Jake Busey screws up again and doesn't buy the bar, he goes, "You fucked this up, I fucked you up." And then so now they're gonna go murder. He basically tells him like, "Hey, go take care of the uncle in the hospital." Which again, if he dies, there has to be a will that the bar goes to someone else. I don't think it's just like gets thrown into auction. But yeah, so he's going to murder the uncle in the hospital bed. And the security in this hospital is non-existent. They just walked right in.
I wrote that down. So now, have you ever been to a hospital before?
Yeah, I just visited my dad like a couple months ago. They like had my ID. They broke down everything.
So not even security. There wasn't one nurse. There wasn't one outside of the one girl at the front desk
that got her ass kicked for saying, "How may I help you?"
Yeah, right. So outside of the one person at the front desk, every hallway was dark. There wasn't one nurse. There's never a time when there's people not moving back and forth about any hall. So this, again, but there's only 3 people that work at a police station. So maybe there's only 3 people that work in a hospital, and they have multiple floors, so they can't be everywhere.
Yeah, 1 per floor. But so the uncle, he knew it was coming pretty much right away. He knew, dude, I thought it was pretty slick that he put on like the scrubs and had the mop of the floor. But dude, he could have snuck out. He could have just been gone. But no, he beats the crap out of him with a mop. And then the last guy, it reminded me of like a Rambo or WWF. The guy ran into the mop and like clotheslined himself on the mop.
I love this roommate.
I know. What was up with it? What was his problem? Hey, the nurses are gonna yell at you again if you're out of your bed. And then how about when the uncle headbutts that ninja star chick? I thought she was indestructible. She beat up a lot of people in this movie.
He was a badass. I mean, he really was like, again, he's an older guy. Never seen him act like that. I mean, he's a good actor. Just never seen him like physical like that.
Yeah.
And he got stabbed or shot and like he's pretty hurt. He's hurt because he tried to get out of the hospital when Shane visited him and he couldn't move. He's like, all right, not yet. I'm not ready to go. And he's still able to fight. I mean, that's a badass.
How about Jake Busey's job was to go there and murder him? He stabbed him and that's it. He won one stab and then why didn't he kill him?
Yeah.
That was the reason he was sent there. Richard Norton should have like kicked his ass right away. It made no sense. He just stabbed him and then just left.
Yeah.
So then Richard Norton goes and this is when we find out that they're cousins. Because Shane goes to Bo's house and he's like, how did you know that there was going to be something going on at the Black Pelican? Well, he's my cousin. He gave me a heads up on it. So then as soon as they're in the house, you hear a click, click. And he's like, oh, company's here.
Well, so she's been setting him up the whole movie. And now he trusts her 100%. And she's tag along. Like I
guess she was kind of setting up, but in a way, like avoiding him, like getting away from danger. But no, I know what you mean. But this is where she pulls the gun out.
Yeah. So where did she talk about being in the military?
Right there. She goes, that's how I got that. The military helped pay for my college. She goes, she like, yeah. So then there's like gunshots going on. And then I don't remember how I think Norton or somebody must have grabbed Shane and put him on the ground.
Well, so while the gunshots are going off, and I wrote this down, and you see this a lot in movies. Now, I'm not a gun expert. Maybe you could give me your opinion. But how come every time a pillow gets shot, feathers go all over the place?
I know. No, it just explodes.
Like you just shot like 200 chickens at once, and you see feathers all over the place. It happens in every movie. Is that like real? Like if you shoot a pillow, I'm thinking like a bullet's going to go right through the pillow from one side to the other. It's not going to explode. And that's it. Like feathers, like you're having a pillow fight.
Yeah. It's funny that in that sense, when they shoot pillows, they explode. But other movies, killers use pillows, like assassins, to be a silencer, and it doesn't fly everywhere. So no, it makes no sense. How about him? Shane's in the back shooting his gun. She's the one out near the window firing a shotgun out at these people.
Yeah.
That was pretty badass that she was like right in the action. But dude, so Richard Norton is there. Him and Shane's tied up. They take the girl outside. Now, how did you feel about the 2 henchmen talking about raping her right on the dock? That was just weird.
That was very weird. That was like almost like uncalled for. Like,
yeah.
I guess they had to show how get her even more mad.
But she beat the shit out of him. She was good. Oh, yeah. Dude. We'll get to it, but no, her her fight scenes are really good, really good. She beats the crap out of both of them, shoots the one guy right in the dock. So Richard Norton, we find out when he's telling the story. He tells a story about when he was young, he was pulled over by, or I don't know how many years ago. It was Shane's first year on the Louisiana State Police. He got pulled over. He arrested him for marijuana and cocaine possession. And then he is the one who ordered the hit on Dalton's dad. Actually, I think he says, I'm the one who killed you.
Yes. He didn't say that yet until later on. So, but, this shows you what kind of badass Richard Norton is. He went there to take care of Shane. Now, Shane's been wreaking havoc the whole movie. Richard Norton's wearing a suit. Now, if you're going to – he knows he can get in a fight with Shane because Shane's been beating up everybody. And you go there in a suit?
Yeah.
It's still, that's a badass move. I feel restricted wearing a suit at a wedding that I can't wait to take the jacket off.
Yeah.
And this guy's going there to fight in a suit.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't listened to it, go back after this and listen to an interview with Richard Norton from last week. He had a funny story about the first time, because Richard Norton is a martial arts. He's a black belt. He does MMA. He's trained with Chuck Norris. He does a lot of fight coordinating. He's working right now on Suicide Squad too. So he talks about the way they do it, when they're acting out the fight scenes, he didn't do the fight coordinating for this movie, but he's you do 10%, then 20%, then 40%, speed it up. And he goes, the first time that he went full on Jonathan, he goes, I think he pretty much wet himself. And if you watch fight scenes, that's what's great about knowing that he's the stuntman and the actor, is you can look at him the whole time. It's the same guy. There's a few times Shane turns his head and it looks like a different guy. Richard didn't remember if he's a stunt guy or not for anything, but dude, he would definitely kick his ass in real life.
Oh, you know what? I was saying that you could tell he's holding back so much because he has to get beat up. He has to lose. But you could tell if this was going to be a fair fight, he would have destroyed him.
Dude, the forearms that he was throwing through the wall and it was a pretty good fight. It was quick, but it was a good fight.
Yeah.
So this is where, again, you mentioned about pillows blowing up. This is another trope that's in these movies way too much. So Shane and Bo, they want to go to the Black Pelican because they know something's going down. There's another big drug deal going down on a place that Jake Busey doesn't own. That one cop, he's blocking the road. He basically says you could do something or you can, I forget what the hell line. It's one of those lines make him guilty. So then the guys are talking, the drug dealers and Jake Busey and his gang. Shane and Bo, they ram all of the drug dealers' cars and they proceed to explode.
Ain't like a domino effect. So I wasn't asked, does that happen? I see car accidents. I've been in car accidents. I've never once did it explode. This was all I did was hit one car and they all exploded in a row. Yeah, they were, but I just didn't that was weird.
I paused it, and one car was on flames in the front near the hood. The other one had flames kind of at the back. So the gas tank's only one place. Yeah, it's only going to explode one place, and that just doesn't happen. There's not enough gas in a car for it to explode like that.
Maybe they were Pintos. Weren't they known to explode back in there?
They were, because they had the gas thing.
Yeah. It's funny. Before even when just one more thing, when Jake Busey was at the hospital, and when Nate was, I guess, hiding and he wasn't there, he was so angry he ripped the oxygen tank cord off the guy that was sleeping, the old man that was sleeping in the bed. He took it out of this poor old bastard who's in the hospital, who's probably on his last breath, and he got so mad he just ripped it out of his nose. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was pretty good. So then the end of this movie is a tag team match. You have Shane versus Jake Busey, and you have Bo versus Ninja Star Chick. And hands down, girl fight 100 times better.
100%. Easily.
The moves that were going on. Dude, how about in that one, there were so many flips in it. And the end of it, so Bo gets stabbed in the stomach, okay? Stabbed in the stomach. The Ninja Star Girl says probably one of the sickest lines that I've ever heard anyone say. Those videos that I've sent you a million times, top 100 badass one-liners.
Right.
That needs to be added. I know this movie's not that good, but when she goes, let's see what your insides look like. Jesus. This is where I wrote, I'm on board with this movie. I don't want a sequel. I want a prequel and learn what happened to her as a kid. Because something happened to make her this sick.
Well, imagine watching it from my point of view. I have no idea why the blonde is good with guns or anything else. I didn't know she was in the military. And was like ridiculous. And it's, and I had no idea why. I couldn't, that made me hate the movie even more. So you made me like tone it down a little bit, knowing that she was in the military. Because that fight was awesome. You're
like, what is it, beginner's luck, question mark? No, but then she rips the whole knife out of her own stomach, puts it in the girl's chest, and then kicks her. Then roundhouse kicks her, and then she's dead. And the Jake Busey fight, it was just a lot of slow-mo. There's a lot of slow-mo in the fight scenes in this movie. So then he's getting choked out by Jake Busey, Shane. When they do that flashback, and you hear that wasn't Swayze's voice, right?
And no, not at all. And they had a few of those flashbacks.
No, I know.
And the first one was so obvious it wasn't his voice, Patrick Swayze's voice. And I couldn't but they made it look like it's him teaching his son, but it didn't even sound like they didn't even try to sound like him. Almost, it's like we're gonna pretend this is his father, but we're not gonna try to have someone sound like him at all. It was.
I'm surprised that they couldn't use archived footage from it. Maybe they didn't have the rights to, or not for nothing, Sam Elliott probably could have been in this movie.
Well, that would be awesome. That would have been awesome.
Or just to help him, just show him training him as a kid or something.
Patrick Swayze has sort of a Southern accent. They easily could have found someone close enough. Come on, there's a lot of people out there.
Oh, yeah.
But again, the budget probably didn't hold for that. So they probably found, the janitor on set. Listen, we need someone to be the voice. We can't pay you enough to be on film, but we can give you a voice. So just throw it out there.
Earl, put the mop down. We need you real quick. We need you for a quick 10 seconds. Yeah, hit it, Shane. So then Jake Busey gets kicked through a window, and the coroner's report would say death by pelican.
So he landed on the Pelican?
Yeah.
See, I wrote down, what did he land on? It looked like, was it an upside down chair with the leg sticking up? I couldn't figure out what he landed on. I was questioning that. How'd you know it was the Pelican?
Because they showed it. Kind of. They only showed a pan down, and then you just saw the Pelican's head.
I didn't see a Pelican at all. I saw a chair that was upside down with a piece of wood in the middle of the floor. That's what I saw that he landed on.
But yeah, he wanted it so bad, and then look, that's how he died. And I love how this movie ended. So because right now it's the end of the movie. He gets his big drug bust because he got Victor, who was Richard Norton. He was one of the biggest drug dealers in the country. So then they have the bar. There's fights going on. We see the one guy that was the guy doing the robot, that bouncer. He's in uniform, in crutches. Why is he employed?
And still doing the robot.
Yes. And the uncle is back to tending bar. And he says a line from the original. He goes, "You're nice until you don't." What the hell's the line? I have it written down earlier, but he's like, "Be nice until it's time to not be nice." And that was the end. But do you remember who came over with the glasses in the very last 5 seconds of the movie? His buddy from the hospital.
No, that was it. That was who it was. Oh,
yeah, because he goes, "Hey, can you bring me some glasses?" He puts the glasses down in front of him, and then Uncle Nate, Will Patton, walks away, and he goes, "Yeah, he's my boss now."
That's awesome. No, I didn't recognize that.
Yeah, a throwaway line, and then he's like, "You have to stick around." But yeah, so that's the end of the movie. That's Roadhouse 2, Last Call. So Jamie, now that things have changed a little bit for you, what did you think about the movie?
It didn't change enough.
Oh, okay.
I would not recommend this movie, to be honest with you. I think if I didn't have to watch it, I wouldn't. To me, it has really nothing to do with the first movie. Even the concept. The first movie is all about bouncers and the bar and how rough it is. Not only that, the main star, his fighting style is like Jason Statham and Van Damme. It's not to me. You could have named this another kind of movie and it might have fit. But naming it Roadhouse 2 just to use Patrick Swayze as a background, I don't like it. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, they could have done better when it came to that. But honestly, if this movie was on, especially back in the day, 2006, when I wasn't married without a kid, I would watch just movie upon movie upon movie. And if this came on HBO or something, I would have watched it. It was really if you take out the credits, it was like an hour and 15 minutes. And there were some good scenes. And after talking to Richard Norton, his fight scene was good. Honestly, the ninja star and the blonde, that was one of the coolest like girl on girl fight scenes that I've seen. And that was pretty badass, like in the kitchen in a small space. And Will Patton was badass. So to see the guy that in Remember the Titans, which I've seen a million times, that's like this really calm football coach, and to just beat the crap out of everyone that comes in contact with him, it was pretty cool.
Well, I think if you take, I think what the problem is that Roadhouse 1 is such a cult movie, and I think people are going to go into this movie thinking it's something and it's not. And I think, if you've never seen Roadhouse 1, you have no clue what it's about, then you might like the movie a little bit. Maybe the cheesy 80s, it's almost like an 80s action movie is really what it is, even though it was made in 2006. Maybe, but I just think it's just, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan. I think some of the actors were good in the movie, but for the movie, not for me. I had too many questions.
You did have a lot of questions, but yeah. So that was Roadhouse 2. I think along the way we talked about things that could have been different. There's a lot obviously that needs to be done to make it like a perfect movie, but if you're not doing anything one day, check it out, because I think some of the things in it are super silly. And so again, go back last week, listen to Richard Norton's interview, go back, listen to our other reviews, all of our other interviews. There's so many good ones that we've done, so many great ones that we have coming up as well. Review, rate, and share our podcast. Now, next week, we're interviewing Sean Kanan. You know him as the bad guy in Karate Kid Part 3. If you're a General Hospital fan, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, he's been in all those shows for, I think I total it up, it was like over 900 or 1,000 episodes. And people know him. You mentioned that your wife. My wife, my mother-in-law, they're like so jealous that we had a chance to reach out to him and talk to him. I'm looking forward to everybody hearing it. Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, he was badass. Mike Barnes. The story about the whole process of landing that role. It was a huge open casting call. And yeah, he was a big fan of the movie, so it made it even better. And he kind of had a background and a connection to the movie before even trying out. So yeah, so subscribe so you don't miss out. Again, thanks for listening. Again, you got to review, you got to rate, you got to share us. Good night. Good night.